Are you someone who hesitates to speak in a group activity? Are you nervous for your group activity? Are you nervous for your cadet pilot selection process? Hi, I'm Captain Deval Soni. I've trained 1,000 plus aspiring cadet pilots and I've mentored and trained 3,500 pilots, CPL holders, aspiring pilots for their CPL as well. So, I know a lot of aspiring pilots have the fear they are not very, good in effective communication. I would strongly suggest that the practice is the only way to excel in your communication or effective soft skills or your effective communication skills. So today in this group activity, we have a scenario, and the scenario is during landing, a pilot noticed a partial flap failure. The flap system is only working on one wing, and in another wing, the flap system is not working. The weather is clear, the runway is long, and the wind is calm. What should the pilot will do? Continue landing with asymmetric flaps, or retract all flaps and land at a higher speed? Use the working flap only at one side, or declare mayday and divert? Okay, so let's start the group activity now.
Hello everyone. Hello. So today we are going to discuss about the flap failure. So aircraft is on a final approach and we lost our one flap to completely failure. So in that case, what I think about this, that the plane will produce less lift because we have a flap failure, and we will land at a higher speed by which aircraft may skid out of the runway.
So I would like to go with what my teammates said. I would like to go with the notion, and I would say that you should retract all the flaps and land at a higher speed. So as what flaps do? So flaps create a thrust, right, which helps us. It's basically a reverse thrust, which helps us in reducing the approach speed. Since one flap is, it's not working, it is compromised. So there is only one flap, right? And I feel if we land with one flap, it's asymmetrical, and there are chances that the plane will roll or it will yawn, right? So it's better to, land at a higher speed with all flaps closed, so that will be aerodynamically very good, and we'll be able, and since as the question given, the runway is long, so it will help us in, stopping the aircraft without flaps, since the runways, it's long. So yeah.
Yeah, I do agree with my teammate. I think we should retract all the flap and land at a higher speed, as the weather is calm and clear and the runway is also long. So we don't think that any emergency will happen.
So I also agree with my teammate. In this situation, the flap failure, we should declare a mayday and diverting to the nearest airport, suitable airport. In this, we have to take a crucial divergence, and we should do a mayday declaration, and diversion should be the main part of this flap failure, and communication with the ATC is the main motto, and fire faster and approach the nearest airport.
Adding to it,
I actually disagree with this point, because since weather is good, runway is also wrong, and no emergency exists, there is no need to declare mayday or divert.
yeah, and the weather is also calm and clear, and the runway is long, so I think there's no need for mayday. Mayday is only for the emergency calls only, I think.
Adding to a point, I guess retracting all the flaps is not a very good option, as flaps are high lift devices. It basically creates the drag which enables for a shorter runway for landing. If we retract all the flaps, the aircraft speed will be too much higher. I mean, there are chances that the aircraft may skid off the runway.
I would like to add a point to what my teammate said, that we should not use the mayday call. We can either use the pan call. That could be something that we can use, but since there are safer options than that, where we can retract all the flaps and land at a higher speed, because I think that is much more suitable aerodynamically, and as what the practical experiences says, because since flaps are used for thrust, and if it just helps you, flaps are used for drag, and since that we don't have a reverse thrust, but since we have a long runway, we have a clear weather, so we can just land at a higher speed, and we'll be able to stop the plane. We'll be able to land very soothingly, or
Yeah, in assessing the situation, I guess we can continue landing with the asymmetric flap, because on one side the flaps are working, on the other side we can use the ailerons and the rudders to maintain the stability. If not, we can also use the trim tabs. And after landing, we can like retract the flaps and we can use all the brakes like reverse thrust, wheel brakes, and spoilers to stop the air.
I think we cannot use. There is no need to use the trims because we have a one flap is not working. So the other wing will produce more lift with compared to the other one. So there is a more use of ailerons and rudder, so we can stabilize the plane and land the safer aircraft on the runway.
I agree with what you say that we can land with one flaps, not since one is partially failed, but we have much more safer option than that, and that is that if we retract all and land at a higher speed, if we land with one flaps open and one not, then there are chances that plane could stop. The plane could roll, right? So if we have the safer option, we should opt for the safer option. Why we need to just take the the risk?
Yeah,
If we
coming
have
to the situation, retracting the flaps, it would definitely increase the speed of the aircraft. It would affect the lift. It would affect the drag ratio, and there are high chances that the aircraft may skid off the runway. Though
Yeah,
we
because
use
the
all the
camber
braking
area is
actions.
less now, because the camber area is less. So why we need to increase the speed? Yes.
Yeah, I think I can agree with him. As there is no crosswind, the weather is clear, so it might be helpful with landing with asymmetric flaps, as it can help us to reduce the aircraft speed during landing.
Yeah, but landing with one flap failure is little bit difficult to land, and we can manage with a higher speed landings also.
Yeah, but compared to all the options, I guess landing with asymmetric flaps, it's a quite safer option.
Yeah.
Though the lift is less, we can increase the speed of the aircraft, and after landing, we can retract the flaps and we can use all the maximum brakes.
So the-
Even though the lift is less, the landing will still be asymmetrical with only the flaps on one side working, right?
Yeah.
So-
For this correction, we can use radars.
Radars and
Radars
ailerons.
to stabilize the plane.
But
During
even
the
even if we retract all the flaps and land at a higher speed, we have the question says we have a longer runway. So if we have the longer runway, we have a lot of time, right? And what aviation says, if the situation are compromised, runways are life, right? So we have the whole runway. We can, and especially the brakes are not compromised. We have the full brakes. We can use the brakes and we can stop the plane.
Yeah, but the lift is also compromised. It's not only about the speed. The lift is also compromised, and also the drag ratio is also compromised.
Yeah, actually, I'm agree with this point because we have a longer runway. To stop the aircraft, we have reverse thrust, we have spoilers which are working, and now what is not working? The flaps. So now the runway is long, we can apply the brakes and stop the aircraft as soon as possible before end up with the runway.
But if we land with only one flap, there are chances that we could just yawn or we could just roll out. So I don't think so that we should just go for the safer option, because we don't have any compromise situation with the brakes or with the spoilers. We only have we are compromised with only one flap, right? That is partial flap.
Because one flap is not working, so when we touch down on the runway, so we can use the rudder to stabilize the airplane.
So conclude.
Should we conclude?
Can we conclude?
I will ask her a time. How much time is left?
The timer.
If anyone is wearing the watch,
What time will we start?
2:05. I mean,
I think we started at 2:10, 2:08.
Now it's 2 a.m.
I think 2:12 we started.
What's the time now?
2 a.m.
2:18.
You take another 4 minutes.
sure.
What's the-
Yeah. Is anyone like to add some points? I mean,
Yeah, I think we all are agreed that retracting all the flaps at high speed is the most appropriate options in this all four.
High speed, high speed maybe do when we have a very high speed, it might be slightly hard landing.
Yeah, but the runway is long also,
Yeah, we
and
can
the
take
weather
advantage
is
of.
clear and calm, and there is no wind.
But it
No
is
emergency exists.
but it is safer to inform ATC to our nearest airport.
Yeah, definitely, I'm agree
Yeah.
with this point because informing the ATC about what we have failure in the aeroplane is a good option.
informing is a good option. I would say it's a good option, but since it's not given in the question, so if we go with the question, I would say that retracting all the flaps and landing at a higher speed would make sense to me. So I would go with this second option that says the retracting all flaps and landing at a higher speed. So
Yeah, I do agree with your point. We should go with the second point.
Yeah, I think I also do agree with your point that retracting all the flaps with at higher speeds.
so who agrees with me?
I also agree with your points. We have a longer runway.
Like what I think about this, there one side flaps is not working. So if we have a partial flap failure, like flap 2 failure, so another side we will also make flap 2 failure. I mean, take flap 2 because it will make a equivalent to the plane. So yeah, I know we will land at a high speed, but we take advantage of longer runway so we can stop by the time.
Yeah, but adding to your point, though let's assess the situation and though we can stop the aircraft on the runway, we can definitely not maintain the drag and the lift ratio to land on exactly the touchdown point. If you retract the flaps, it's very negligible that you will land on the you will aim for the touchdown point, and it's very likely for the aircraft to skid off the runway.
Actually, what I think about this, that pilots are more trained for this any kind of failure. So it will very possible that when we reach over the threshold, they will 50 feet over. Plane should be 50 feet when we reach over the threshold. So pilots are more trained for that. So we can land and touch down with the touchdown area. And we have, I already told you, we have spoilers, we have reverse thrust, and we can stop with the time.
Sorry to interrupt. We only have 2 minutes, so I think we should conclude our group discussion.
So to conclude the question, the case of asymmetric flap failure, continuing the approach is dangerous because it creates uneven lift and leading uncontrolled roll and yaw. So the best solution is to retract all the flaps and land at a higher speed because we have longer runway and best weather to land.
But contrary, like some few people have a different opinion about it. Like because he still believe that, I mean, we can do an unsymmetric, flap landing. Okay. And what about others? Others was going to the same option. Okay, fine. All right, cool. So how was it, guys?
That was good.
It was good.
It was
I feel
good.
more confident.
More confident? Okay. What was good in this group activity?
We were able to share our opinions. We were able to learn a lot from the group.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
About the radar. And
Okay. So what did you learn?
So I learned about this the different type of approach.
Okay.
Here we have a flap failure.
Okay.
Still, we discussed about this topic and we safely land the plane over the runway.
Okay. What didn't go well in this group activity?
Like what I think about.
At the end, they don't all agree at the same point.
That is okay.
Yeah.
That is okay.
And
But I
Still less coordination among us.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would say
all does not agree with our points.
That's okay. That's okay.
I would say there are a few people. I am not saying not everyone, but there are a few people who didn't speak what they wanted to speak. They just controlled their emotions. They were like, so I'll just say, so if someone has a different opinion, everyone has the same opinion. Some people, it happens to me also that if the majority of people have a different option, I have a different opinion. So I just keep my emotion with myself. So if I say that is something.
But I really appreciate
Yeah,
you
I
that you
also-
were, I mean, you were one versus all.
Yeah, that was
And you were
At the ending, when he made his last part, I kind of, I
got it like, maybe
yeah,
he's
he does
maybe-
make sense.
yeah.
We can land with one
Fine.
flap.
All right. Good. So, what do you think? What is the right answer? Majority or minority?
retract all.
Assimilate all the flaps.
I think yes. I mean, the majority makes more sense. Okay.
So I saw in an aircraft that it's basically if you retract all the flaps, the aircraft, though you won't have that much reaction time to exactly land on the aimed on touchdown point. So yeah.
So, but in this scenario, I mean, flap asymmetry is actually not safe because the lift distribution, because of unwanted roll, especially during at a time of touchdown, can be risky.
As you know, a flap.
Unwanted, I mean this undistributed drag. So I mean aerodynamically, it's gonna be a mess. It's become so difficult for a pilot to control an aeroplane in a flap asymmetry. However, if it is, at least if you have a symmetry and if you have a long runway, which is mentioned in this question, so longer runway landing, with in symmetry, a long runway is definitely a no-brainer.
Yeah, but when I went through the emergency checklist of A320, I just saw the same thing. It was mentioned like you should not retract the.
No, nothing like that. Nothing like that. You might have misinterpreted that checklist. Otherwise aircraft might have an option of deploying, either side of the flap, but there is no options. So if the flaps are deployed, it is always deployed in a symmetrical fashion only, or it is retracted in a symmetrical fashion only.
When I made this point of the is asymmetrical landing, he said that we
Yeah.
can use
Yeah.
radar and ailerons to.
Yeah, but see, I mean, why do you want to do it? Because anyways, you have a longer runway, na? Why you want to take chances? You want to do such a rash touchdown and then controlling the aircraft with rudders and all those is gonna be risky. That is the reason they have given you it's a long runway. And during your CPL training as well, you will be trained to do a flapless landing. True, your approach speed is gonna be higher, but it will if you have those runway distance available, you will be able to. You'll be trained on this.
Sir, as we know,
So it has to be symmetry.
our one flap would always fail.
Sorry.
As we know, the plane's one flap is already failed, but without informing the ATC, we should land with this higher risky.
Yeah. So you declare you can declare a pan.
But the
Sure.
question here, we can really.
Yeah.
I mean,
So, but otherwise, you will definitely, declare a pan.
Sure.
Something has happened to a structural this thing. Yeah, pan. It depends on the severity. It is not something very, not a very time critical situation. Okay. So you have a time to hold, to take a decision. So again, you will do a calculation on your EFB. This is the failure occurred, this is the runway, this is the weather, and all those things, and the EFB will help you in taking a decision. Is that clear?
Yeah.
All right, good. So individual feedback. Aryan, okay, fine. All right. Manish, you know it. What was
my first time?
Yeah, I mean that's okay. But how will you do it differently next time?
Next time I will prepare for.
Yeah. Okay, you need to give a lot of contribution next time because this is your first time. That's okay. Okay, Akhil fine, and fine, Kaushal fine. Swastika, you have a good way of putting out your words. Okay, I really liked it. Kinjal, same. Okay, you have to be expressive in a group activity. You have to contribute, and we will work on it. Okay, Harsh, same. I would this is also this is the first time. So we will practice more. Okay, the work need to be done. Okay, so that we'll clear it in one shot. Okay, okay, bye bye, see you. So as you can see, they have an opinion, and in my opinion, it's better to retract all flaps and land at a higher speed. Because the reason is asymmetric flap causes dangerous roll and yaw. It is safer to land clean with no flaps and fast than to risk uneven lift because you have a long runway available and the weather is also clear and the wind is also calm. So, as per this situation, retracting all flaps and landing at a higher speed seems to be a better viable options. And I know that you might be sometime anxious and worried about your selection process. Don't worry, with enough practice, you will be able to crack it. A lot of our students, when they comes to us, at that time their preparation level or their confidence level is not that great, but after training and upskilling them, their confidence level starts growing up. They becomes better personalities, their communication skills becomes better, and then they excel in their cadet pilot selection process. If you are someone who's looking to clear cadet pilot selection process, you can contact us and we'll be happy to train you irrespective of your country, irrespective of a cadet pilot program, even if it is Qatar, ATR, Scoot, or any other cadet program like Indigo, Air India, Air Arabia, Fly Dubai, you'll be able to clear it, but definitely you have to upskill yourself because it is again competitive as well. So you have to be, you really have to raise your level, and this can be done only with a great training, with good environment, and G community they gives a platform and a kind of atmosphere so that everyone learns from each other, and we are a strong community, and we all students, if you see, I must suggest you to visit our office, and you will find the difference, the kind of vibes, the training culture, and the atmosphere we're bringing for the students, so that they excel in their selection process, and in fact in the CPL classes as well. We have a team, a very nice team, Captain Avdesh, Nishant, Prem sir, and other teammates, Shrishti, Victor. We all train everyone so that they excel in their CPL classes and the cadet selection process as well. We send students for flying training in Serbia, Maldives, United States, and South Africa as well. And see you in the next video.